Waiting out the switch timer, and in comes Gyarados. Gyarados running out of HP and going straight for the crunch. Crunch gonna land for big damage. Metagross lets it go. We get the defense drop and farm down. Gyarados now deep in the red. Out comes Togekiss. Gyarados gonna make the first Aqua Tail. Can we make Aqua Tail? Number 2, IVs matter, and Gyarados putting on a whole heap of damage. Welcome back to the home of Shadow Pokemon. Huge shout out to one of our Discord members, Gilbot. It's not very often you get to see triple shadows in the Open Master League, and not only have we got triple shadows, we have got an absolutely beautiful 100% 15-15-15 Shadow Gyarados equipped at best body. You love to see it. Team partners there are going to be Shadow Gyarados and Shadow Metagross. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game 1, we got some Shadow and Shadow Crime. Shadow Gyarados into Mewtwo. Shadow Mewtwo hits like an absolute truck. Gilbot with the instant shield. We're now over farming. Gilbot looking to make the catch. Stay in school, kids. Learn to count. It's 5 Psycho Cuts to the side strike, and that's double resisted on Metagross. Metagross tanks that really well. However, the opponent has a great counter in Yveltal. Yveltal does outpace us to the Dark Pulse, and we're just completely going to sack Metagross in game 1. Gilbot doesn't even wait out his timer. He sends in Dragonite. Dragonite tearing through Yveltal with their Dragon Breaths. He's actually going to tank this move as well. And ouch, this is going to hurt. That does big damage to our Dragonite. Gilbot now continuing to overfarm, looking to throw the Dragon Claw just before Dark Pulse number 2. It takes 4 Snarls to each Dark Pulse, and the opponent commits shield number 1. Gilbot invests his last Protect Shield to win out. All shields down. We shield up the Dark Pulse. The opponent not wanting to get farmed down. Send out Excadrill. There's no baits on this channel. Going straight for the super. Does the opponent respect the damage? Sadly they do. We look to combo play into Gyarados, but we lose CMP. Rock Slide isn't going to KO. Gyarados hangs on with a sliver of health. Aqua Tail isn't quite going to knock out. However, we're not far away from Aqua Tail number 2. Do we get there? Yes, we do. The double resisted Mud Shots just don't do enough damage. Gyarados takes care of Excadrill. The opponent going to come in with Mewtwo. They could take us out with 1 Psycho Cut. In comes Dragonite. Dragonite outpaces to the Dragon Claw. This is going to knock out Yveltal on a sliver of HP. Is also going to get Dragon Breath farmed down, and we're off to a 1-0 start. GG's and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we lead into a Pokemon most people call BDD for Best Buddy Dialga. Well, on this channel, we call it Basic Bitch Dialga. Both Pokemon are hitting each other for neutral. Gyarados goes straight for the Crunch. Crunch going to do some solid chip damage. The opponent lets it go. We get the defense drop. This opens up the door for Gilbot to win lead. Ironhead wouldn't KO, however would get Dragon Breath down afterwards. Gilbot now commits to the farm down. We leave on minimal HP. With a move, out comes Togekiss, and Gilbot goes for the resisted Crunch. I think Aqua Tail probably would have been the play, but it is what it is. Togekiss now commits to the Charm Down, Farm Down. However, Togekiss, you, my little flying, fluffy cloud-looking thing, we have a nasty surprise. In comes Metagross. The opponent switches out into Giratina, and it looks like RPS for the win. And the opponent concedes the match. Let's go. Moving on to the next battle. We pick up a lead against Kyogre. You love to see it. Gyarados pretty good against both primals. Both Kyogre and Groudon can do pretty much nothing to Gyarados. The opponent looks like they're lagging. However, they do build up to a potential Thunder. Gilbot probably going to shield, last second shield, and the opponent baits us with a Surf. However, Gyarados is absolutely loaded. Gyarados unleashing the first Crunch. Crunch goes unshielded. That allows Gilbot to get the farm down, and we leave with residual energy and pretty healthy. Out comes Togekiss. Gilbot unable to pivot as Dragonite really doesn't want to see Togekiss. Gyarados fires off the first Aqua Tail, and the opponent actually shields. Gilbot now fires off Aqua Tail number 2, and this does some solid chip damage to Togekiss. Gyarados with his Hundo IVs. Can we make the third? We cannot. We get Charm Down, Farm Down. However, Metagross pretty much the absolute Donny counter to all the stupid Charmers. Togekiss continuing to stay in, looking to force the final shield with the Flamethrower or Aura Spear, and Gilbot does oblige, putting up that shield. Then I'll pivot out into Giratina. Gilbot goes for the Earthquake. This is actually a mistake. Both Earthquake and Meteor Mash do the exact same amount of damage, as Meteor Mash does get same type attack bonus. However, both do big damage. Gilbot now tanks the Shadow Sneak, pivots out into Dragonite, and Dragon Breath going to tear through the opponent. We can tank 1 Dragon Claw. It is going to do quite a lot. However, we'll be able to Dragon Breath farm down, and then we're going to be able to probably go for back-to-back Dragon Claws. The opponent still has 1 Protect Shield. This game's just over. The opponent going to be forced to shield this up. They actually call the bait, but I don't think that's going to save them. We look to farm down, and it's a simul KO. Dragonite is a Togekiss counter confirmed. You heard it here first. In the next battle, we pick up a great lead, Gyarados into Reshiram. Due to Reshiram's Dragon Fire typing, Gyarados' cheaper move of Aqua Tail actually hits for neutral. The opponent goes for the Fusion Flare. It looks like we're farming up towards the back-to-back Aqua Tails, looking to make a play for lead. It looks like Gilbot always wants alignment, and to be honest, I don't blame him, as there's a lot of things that Dragonite really don't want to see in this meta. It's pretty RPS, but it is pretty good. We fire off the second Aqua Tail, winning switch. The opponent now comes in to Lugia. Can we make another Aqua Tail? We die at the move. Pretty heartbreaking. However, we can now send in Metagross, which is going to be able to wall all of this energy. However, a resisted Aeroblast still going to do a lot of damage. The opponent farms up to it and they full send it. Gilbot tanks it. He's now over farming up. So back-to-back Meteor Mashes, we're going to unleash the first Lugia, without a doubt the thickest mon in the format, and that does huge damage. And now look to snipe with Dragonite. The opponent pivots out into Groudon, and this should be game over. We do resist absolutely everything from Groudon. The opponent goes for a Fire Punch, and that just tickles. The opponent continuing to stay in. I think they should just top left, to be honest. But if the opponent wants that work, Dragonite is without a doubt going to give it to him. The opponent commits that final shield. Dragonite still doesn't need to shield, and the opponent finding out the hard way that this is a dreadful matchup. They're going to fire off yet another Fire Punch, and Dragonite's still going to shrug it off. Dragonite now going to look for the farm down, which we get. We're now absolutely loaded. Back out comes Lugia, and Dragonclaw is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next battle, we need Shadow Gyarados into Excadrill. Pretty interesting matchup. We do double resist the mud shots. They do resist our quick move of Dragon Breath. Rock Slide gonna do a lot. Likewise, Aqua Tail gonna do a lot. The opponent strikes first. Rock Slide gets us into the yellow. Gilbot over farming. Gonna unleash the Aqua Tail. Is the opponent gonna give up their first Protect Shield? Yes, they are. This little mole is gonna outpace us to Rock Slide. Number 2 and Gilbot looking to play out the ones. We shield up the Rock Slide. We need to be mindful of the attempted catch. The opponent doesn't catch. This Aqua Tail should be lethal from this range. The opponent actually double shields. Excadrill is going to make a final Rock Slide. Is Gilbot going to invest his final Protect Shield? No, he's not. He's going to take shield advantage. Down we go. This is going to be a pretty ambitious farm down with either Pokemon, as both our Pokemon are hitting for resisted with the quick move. But in comes Dragonite. Dragonite gonna have to respect the Rock Slide. We're actually gonna let it go, and we've seen this does a lot of damage. Dragonite now into the yellow. We do manage to farm all the way down. We've got residual energy, but pretty much no health. The opponent sends out their own Dragonite. Gilbot unleashes the Dragonclaw. Dragonclaw lands, getting them into the yellow. We actually outpace the Dragonclaw. Number 2 is going to be Metagross and a shield versus the world. What is that final Pokemon? It's actually their own Metagross, and this is just game over. The opponent has absolutely no win con whatsoever, unless we for some reason call the ridiculous bait. Gilbot instantly shields. The opponent baits us with a Meteor Mash. Nice bait, trainer. I don't know how that's going to save you, as we've got the Earthquake locked and loaded. Get wrecked. GG's, and thanks for playing. Moving on to the next one, we lead Shadow Gyarados into Melmetal. Big yikes. Both Gyarados and Dragonite have a pretty terrible matchup here. However, we do manage to catch what should be a Rock Slide on Metagross, but I think Metagross is pretty much our best way of getting rid of this. If things weren't bad, they've now gone to worse as the opponent comes into Giratina. The opponent goes straight for the Ominous Wind. We do survive that. Do we make the Meteor Mash? Yes, we do. Gilbot looking to find some sort of win con. We fire off the Meteor Mash. The opponent lets it go. The Giratina sitting in a nice farm down range for either Pokemon. Gilbot sends back out. Gyarados commits to the farm down. At least we've now got a move to chuck at Melmetal. Back out, that tin can comes. We go straight for the crunch, fishing for the defense drop. The opponent lets it go. We get no defense drop. Are we going to attempt to catch again? No, we're not. Gilbot chooses to shield this up last second. Holy crap, this Melmetal is going to be a problem. We now fire off crunch. Number 2. Hopefully the opponent lets it go. Nope, they shield. We finally get the defense drop. Gilbot now going to have to allow Gyarados to go down. What can we beat in the back? I don't know yet, but let's find out. We come into Dragonite. It looks like we are going to be able to Dragon Breath farm all the way down. Gilbot forced to invest his final Protect Shield here on the Rock Slide, And in the back, it is Dialga. Land the superpower, Gilbot farming up. However, the opponent does outpace to the Iron Head, and unfortunately we take a loss. Well played to the opponent. Let's see if we bounce back in the next battle. We see the Gyarados mirror our Shadow Hundo versus our regular, so Gilbot will be winning charge move priority. We go straight for the crunch, and we do win the CMP tie. As I shoutcast on my phone, I can't even see the opponent's CP, but unless it's a Hundo and best buddy, we're just going to win CMP. They shield up the crunch, we shield up the crunch, they get the defense drop. That is absolutely brutal. However, in the one shield scenario, this shouldn't really matter, as Gilbot farms up to the crunch, wins CMP again. The opponent chooses to double shield. If I was Gilbot, I'd just take my shield advantage. It looks like that's what he's going to do. No, last second we shield up the Aqua Tail. I think we're going to get Dragon Breath farmed down. The opponent throws another Aqua Tail, winning lead, and we're now all shields down. This is going to get tricky. We don't have alignment, we don't have any shields. However, we have got 2 shadow Pokemon, and you already know something's going to get fucking boomed. We come in, Dragon Breath farm down, the opponent sends out Melmetal, we're going to outpace to the superpower. Gilbot over farming, not wanting to debuff himself. We do survive one Rock Slide. Rock Slide lands, getting us into the red. Gilbot continuing to over farm. Finally, we unleash the superpower. Superpower with non-stab still does huge damage. We almost KO. We then see the simultaneous swap, it's Metagross into Hydreigon. Despite us being Psychic and them being Dark, we tank a super effective Brutal Swing, and this is where you're about to see the power of Shadow Pokemon. Meteor Mash is only neutral, but it absolutely vanquishes Hydreigon back to their Pokeball, get absolutely wrecked. Back out comes Melmetal, the opponent forced to throw. We've got a move, but one Dragon Breath is going to be enough to knock out. GG's. Moving on to the next one. Great lead. Well, I say that, assuming they're on Mud Shot. The opponent is on Mud Shot, so we see the pivot into Lugia. Gilbot looking to chip and dip. I imagine we're going to throw the crunch, then pivot into Metagross. No, we're actually staying in. Gilbot is going to have to tank a charge move here. Sky Attack won't be lethal. We see the no shield. We are going to make crunch number 2, so the opponent now being put in the position where they're going to have to spend a shield first. The opponent does shield it up, and now we see the pivot into Metagross. This is going to be a very ambitious farm down. Lugia has a lot of energy. Do they full send the Aeroblast? Great shield. This is going to now allow us to farm all the way down, and we are now pretty much at full health, and we've got a whole heap of energy. Not too many Pokemon can tank this energy particularly well. However, as I say that, they send out Ho-Oh. Gilbot's timing not the best, so 2 turn versus 5 turn. You want to throw it 2, 7, or you can throw it 4, giving away 2 turns. That's not the worst. However, you don't want to throw 1 or 3, as that gives away far too many free turns. However, Gilbot manages to snipe. Holy smokes, can we actually win this game? Gyarados on an absolute sliver of HP. However, we do double resist the Mud Shots. We fire off the Aqua Tail. The opponent lets it go. Mr. Opponent, what the heck are you doing? They then get farmed down. We'll take that. Moving on to the next one. Gyarados into Rayquaza. We'll take that. You can see Gyarados actually has some really good matchups in this meta. It's good against all the dragons, good against the primals, decent against Dialga and Excadrill. Metagross, Yveltal, got some really key matchups. We shield up the Brutal Swipe. We're now over farming. We don't fire off a charge move. Gilbot is actually going to double shield and farm down. Holy crap, I'm not sure on this play. As we've got hardly any HP, we're double debuffed and we're all shields down. We pivot out into Metagross, looking to reset our debuff. The opponent pivots out into Groudon. This should at least get 1 shield back, which it does. However, we are about to get 1 shot. Uh-oh. It's going to be high Metagross, by Metagross. The opponent absolutely nukes us. You know what? Actually, this might be alright. Precipice Blaze, an absolute Hail Mary, but it is double resisted. As Flying does double resist ground. If we farm all the way down, maybe off back-to-back superpowers, maybe they're in crunch range, let's see. Come on, this is definitely not going to KO. Dragonite going to be holding strong. Melmetal's going to have to commit that final shield. We're almost at the back-to-backs, we're there. This superpower should be pressuring the final shield. The opponent calls the bait. We combo play into the Aqua Tail. The opponent now gonna have to shield, and Dragonite will be winning charge move priority. The opponent actually doesn't throw, and that is gonna be all she wrote. And despite being down 2 shields, we managed to win that game. Very nicely done. Moving on to the next battle. Gyarados into Mamoswine. Pretty neutral. Avalanche is a Side Strike clone. It's going to hit like an absolute truck, but Aqua Tail, not the best move. is super effective, and Mamoswine does not have any bulk. Gyarados strikes first, drawing the first Protect Shield. The opponent now switches out into Melmetal, and this is exactly where we want to see it. The opponent is going to have to debuff themselves with a super power to any meaningful damage. They go for the Rock Slide bait, that does absolutely nothing, and Metagross has that absolute nuke potential of the Earthquake. Gilbot over farming. We still haven't thrown. Super power won't knock out from this range, but will get us low. We commit a shield and we shield the super power. Gilbot now goes for the Meteor Mash. Even with a debuff, I don't think this is going to knock out. The opponent actually shields. Metagross should survive a debuffed super power. However, we really don't want Dragonite on Metagross. Again, we shield up the super power. Now, this is definitely Meteor Mash range. The opponent's so spammy. They get to another super power. That gets us into the red. We're almost at the back-to-backs. We actually bank a boatload and pivot out into Gyarados, and we've drawn out Togekiss. Yikes, Dragonite is going to be aligned with Mamoswine, and we've got no shields. Gyarados gets the Aqua Tail number 2. This is going to get Togekiss pretty low. I think the play here could be just to completely sack the Dragonite. Togekiss does go for the Charm Down, Farm Down. We come into Dragonite, Gilbot, looking to Dragon Breath down, and we actually get it. Holy smokes. Back out comes Mamoswine, and they throw. Avalanche is going to be vanquishing us back to our Pokeball. Metagross now at the back-to-back. The first Meteor Mash is going to be taking out Mamoswine, and the second Meteor Mash, even resisted, is going to be enough to take out the Melmetal, but we don't throw it. No! Gilbot committed to the Earthquake, but I think that's Meteor Mash range. I checked on PvPoke, it does 33%. I think it'd be pretty close, to be honest. In the next battle, we see Shadow Gardevoir. Big yikes. Both Gyarados and Dragonite don't want to see this. However, the opponent actually gives up Switch. So if we can win Switch, we can align on Metagross with this. They send out Dialga. We bring in Dragonite. Gilbot going straight for the Dragon Claw. I really like this play. As if we can align Metagross with Gardevoir, we should be in a good spot. Dragon Claw goes unshielded. Gardevoir is going to absolutely delete us in an instant. Out it comes. 1, 2, 3. The oppressive charm damage from Gardevoir is ridiculous. If I was Gilbot, I'd come straight in with Metagross and try and bullet punch this thing down. He does wait out his full timer. Gardevoir is going to reach a charge move before they go down. I think we just have to shield. A Shadow Ball would be one-shotting, even though they don't get the same type of attack bonus. Good shield. Not waiting out a timer does allow the opponent to pivot out. However, Metagross is going to get off a Meteor Mash. This should pressure a shield. The opponent lets it go. Back out comes Gyarados. And at this stage, I think the opponent just wants to lose with 2 shields. Gilbot very smartly investing his shield. The opponent goes fishing for the boost. They don't get it. They are going to take us out with a Dragon Claw or Ancient Power. I'll be honest, I wasn't counting. They're still fishing for that boost. They don't get it. They now get Bullet Punch farmed down, and Gardevoir is also going to get farmed down. They save 2 shields for next season. Interesting. Moving on to the next one. Decent lead, Gyarados into Dragonite. This Dragonite is on Dragon Tail, and to be honest, they are doing a lot of damage. Gilbot going to be shielding up the Dragon Claw. Gilbot is going to need to throw the Crunch to take him out. He's over farming, still farming up, and it looks like he's making the catch. We catch the Dragon Claw on Metagross. Nice play there, banking a boatload of energy on our Gyarados. The opponent now enters the mirror behind on energy. However, they are up shields. Gilbot will be outpacing to the Earthquake, and he's going straight for it. Looking to get his shield back. Earthquake goes shielded. The opponent now returns 5 of what could be an Earthquake. Gilbot instantly no shield. Looking to call a bait, and the opponent full sends the Earthquake, vanquishing us back to our Pokeball. We can now come into Gyarados. Gyarados does resist the bullet punches. However, we are pretty low. Gilbot goes straight for the Crunch. Crunch goes unshielded. We get the defense drop, and we farm down. Gyarados now on minimal HP. Out comes Togekiss. Can we reach the second Aqua Tail? The first one is going to be doing some nice chip damage. Do we make number 2? Yes, we do. IVs matter. This beautiful 100% IV Shadow Gyarados putting in a whole heap of work. However, our Dragonite is going to be pretty hopeless against this fairy. Holy smokes. I think they're just going to charm down, farm down all the way. Gilbot does invest his shield, but this game's just over. The opponent fires off the Ancient Power. They send back out their own Dragonite. We fire off the Dragon Claw. The opponent can easily let this go, and they recognise that, and one charm is going to be all she wrote. And unfortunately, we lose to a fairy. Fuck my life. You hate to see it. Moving on to the next one, another Dragonite lead. Let's see if Gilbot plays it the same. Both Dragon Claw and Aqua Tail cost the same energies. The opponent is going to strike first. Gilbot again shields. Do we switch out or do we actually throw the crunch this time? Gilbot over farming. It looks like he's looking to make the catch and stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We're 2 for 2 on catching in this matchup. Let's hope there's no Togekiss in the back. The opponent again sends out a Metagross. No, please tell me this isn't the same team. It's definitely not the same battle, as this is Shiny Dragonite and they're on Dragon Breath. Either way, we fire off the Earthquake. Again, the opponent shields. This opponent actually chooses to overfarm a bit, unlike the last opponent. However, they go for the bait. We survive. Can we make a Meteor Mash? No, we can't. So the opponent actually dumps all their energy. With the additional Bullet Punch damage we've done this time, they should pretty much now be in crunch range. Gilbot waiting out his timer. We send out the Gyarados. He's looking to farm up to the back-to-back crunches. Nice play. This crunch should knock out from this range. Let's see. The opponent actually shields. We get the defense shot and they send out Gyarados. We can now align our Dragonite up a shield. Is this where Gilbot chooses to invest his last Protect shield? He's thinking about it. We do shield. We shield up the crunch. Dragonite now needs to heavily over farm. Dragonite farming up just before the opponent reaches an Aqua Tail. Dragon Claw does secure the knockout. Back out comes Metagross. We reach the Superpower. Superpower doesn't get the same type of attack bonus, but Shadow Dragonite hits like a truck. We farm down, and this is going to be game over. Gilbot has the move banked. We actually go for the resisted Aqua Tail, but at this point, either move would knock out, and we manage to take a very nice dub. GG's. Moving on to the next one. Gyarados into Garchomp. Let's hope it's on Mud Shot. The opponent instantly pivots and they send in Mewtwo. Does Gilbot look to make the catch? You could see his finger moving up. We don't quite time the catch right, so Gilbot now shields up with a side strike. Gilbot looking to get his shield back with the crunch. Crunch is going to do big damage to Mewtwo. Mewtwo does commit the shield. Do we make the catch this time? Stay in school, kids. Learn to count. What a play. It's 5 Psycho Cuts, 2 each side strike, and that is a double resisted move. However, the problem here is if they're on Shadow Ball, they are going to outpace us, the opponent. Farming up. Moment of truth time. Please tell me they're on Ice Beam. They're not. We get one shot with the Shadow Ball. Yikes. We send back out Gyarados, committing to the Dragon Breath farm down. And the opponent's final Pokemon is the stupid, annoying Tin Can known as Melmetal. We go straight for the crunch. We don't get the defense drop. The opponent going to fire off the Rock Side. I think we've just got to save our shield for Dragonite. Gilbot agrees, Rock Side takes us out, and Dragonite's got so much work to do. Melmetal already at a charge move. Gilbot going to tank the Rock Side. I imagine they are actually on Mud Shocks. There's no other reason really. You'd switch out the Gyarados matchup. The opponent tries to catch this. Definitely gives us a wink on. The opponent is on Mud Shot. We fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw does big damage. We need to farm down. The opponent doesn't throw. Back out comes Melmetal. The opponent going to be throwing that energy. Gilbot invests his final Protect shield. We shield up the Rock Side. Gilbot now going for the bait. The opponent hasn't thrown, so we are going to win CMP as well. Dragon Claw does go shielded. We've got the Superpower locked and loaded, and that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Another very nice victory. Huge shout out to Gilbot. Running triple shadows in the Open Master League is incredibly difficult. What a great showcase. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. If you'd like your battles featured on the channel, link to our battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.